But what I want to show you is this. I want to make a short video and show you the difference or things that you can look at that can help you determine what kind of Dutch oven you have. So I have two different type Dutch ovens out here. One of them is a BS&R, and y'all know how much I love Birmingham stove and range. Well, good evening, Campfire crew. This is Tony and Stella checking in from the lodge. Well, listen, it's good to see everybody, and you know what? It's good to be seen by everybody. Y'all know for the last few weeks I've been down and I've been sick, but we coming up. We on the uphill climb. We definitely doing better. So today, on today's video, I want to talk about some cast iron, some different kind of cast iron. So I had a friend of mine sent me a message, and he told me, he said, T, I bought a Dutch oven, but I don't know what kind it is. So he sent me a couple of pictures of it, and I told him that what he had purchased is a large Dutch oven. So it's somewhere, if I had to guess, somewhere around the 50s or the 60s or somewhere in that neighborhood, kind of similar to this one. But what I want to show you is this. I want to make a short video and show you the difference or things that you can look at that can help you determine what kind of Dutch oven you have. So I have two different type Dutch ovens out here. One of them is a BS&R, and y'all know how much I love Birmingham stove and range. A Birmingham stove and range Dutch oven is very hard to find, and when you find them, they're expensive. So the large Dutch ovens, they're not that bad. You can buy one for 50, 60, 70 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood. But a Birmingham stove is a little bit different ball game. They're a lot more rare and a little harder to get your hands on. Nobody wants to get rid of them or turn them loose once you have one. So a few weeks ago, Catherine went to a yard sale, and she found several things to buy there while she was there. Stella, where are you going? But anyway, she called me and said, hey, these folks have a Dutch oven they want to sell, and at a great price, probably a little cheaper than it should have been. And I was all over that thing. I didn't really know what it was until she got it home and I had a chance to research it. So since my buddy, just a few days after that, called and said, hey, how can I be able to look at these Dutch ovens and tell the difference in them? I want to show you some major differences between a large Dutch oven and a BS&R, or a Birmingham stove and range Dutch oven. So let's start with the large. One major thing that you can look at, now everything is stamped on the bottom, so if I flip over a large Dutch oven, this just happens to have large stamped in the bottom of it, so this isn't one of the older ones. This has still got some age on it, but it's not 50s and 60s. I've got one over there that is from the 50s or the 60s. So it'll be stamped on the bottom, but also there's a couple of things that you can look at on the lid that are dead giveaways for, is this thing a large or is it a Birmingham stove? Because the thing is, BS&R makes a lid that's almost identical to this thing. So from the exterior, just looking at it, the handles are the same, and there's a lot of similarities to the lid. And they'll pretty much interchange with the Dutch oven. It's a little smaller, but there's a lot of similarities. So one similarity is this. On a large lid, on a large Dutch oven, can y'all see how the lid kind of rounds up toward the handle until it gets close to the handle, and then it starts to flatten out? And I have another one right here that's also a large lid, that these things are identical. So it's rounded from the bottom up, and then it kind of flattens off up toward the top. Also on a large lid, if you'll pick the lid up and look on the inside, the large has dimples that sticks out, or they protrude from the inside of the lid. So this one has pointy, they're called basted nodules or basted knobs. So this thing's designed that once sweat and heat and moisture builds up, it drips off of those little knobs back down, and it bastes your food. This particular one, the newer version, has kind of pointed knobs, and the older one kind of has round knobs that stick out. They protrude away from the pan. So there's two major differences. One is how the lid kind of rounds up till it gets close to the handle. And on the inside of the lid, the little nodules stick out or they protrude. So both of these are real close to being the same thing. Now to the BS&R. On a BS&R Dutch oven, it's a little bit different. So just because this one has a knob on it instead of the handle, BS&R makes them with the handle just like this. This just happens to be a particular kind of Dutch oven. So BS&R, Birmingham Stove and Range, they had a couple of major brands, or not brands, maybe a couple of major types of Dutch ovens that they sold. They sold a Century brand, and they also sold a Red Mountain brand. So Birmingham Stove and Range comes out of Birmingham, Alabama, and they had a factory that was up by Red Mountain, and that's where they produced all of these cast iron at. So here's a couple of big differences when you look at a BS&R compared to a Lodge. BS&R is real rounded up on the top. So it does have a drop-off or an indentation, but it's down real close to the bottom. These things have a whole lot of slope on them, or a whole lot of round when they go up. Also, a BS&R typically put a couple of little lips that stick off of the edge. And here's a major difference. On the inside of this BS&R lid, it doesn't have basting nodules that stick out. This one comes out, but on a BS&R, they sink in. So these were inward notches, and these were outward notches. So there's two major differences. One is the contour of the lid. This is kind of comes up and slopes and flattens off at the top, and BS&R kind of comes up just a little bit, and then it rounds. It's real round up toward the knob on the lid. Also, it has a couple of little handles that you can pick up. Here's a major difference on the Dutch oven itself. So one of the major differences is BS&R gives you a pouring spout. So I can pick this Dutch oven up with a rag, of course, with a little hand notch on the back, and I can pour from the pouring spout that BS&R puts on the front of these Dutch ovens. So there is a couple of major differences that you'll be able to look at your Dutch oven and tell what type of Dutch oven do you have. And I'm still researching them. I'm not exactly sure of the age or the year. I would have to guess from what I have found that this particular BS&R Dutch oven was made somewhere in the 1970s. And I think it's a Century brand, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm still researching that. I wanted to take a few minutes and just show you these, and then this video can be used in the future, or it can be used at any time to help you identify what type of cast iron Dutch oven that you have in your possession. So I hope that helps. Remember, major differences. These are innies, and a Lodge is an Audi. BS&R innie, Lodge, Audi. Lodge kind of rounds up and flattens at the top. BS&R's got kind of a little up at the bottom, but it rounds all the way up to the knob, or for the most part up to the knob. So major differences. BS&R also has the pouring spout. So look and see if your Dutch oven has a little pouring spout, and if it did, and the lids have the innies, there's a real good chance that that is a BS&R Dutch oven. By the way, they're hard to find. I know I said that. All right. So I'm going to get off of Dutch ovens, but there's something else that I want to show you while I'm out here, something that I purchased not too long ago. Okay, so just a few weeks ago, I was at a yard sale, and I came across one of these old irons, and this thing's a little bit heavy. I'm going to set it right there. It's made by Sheffield, and it's a number 8. So I'm not real sure how old the iron is, but it was one of those old type irons that you sit on top of a wooden stove or a wood burning stove, and you heat the iron up, and then you use the iron to iron your clothes with. And I've got a friend named Renee that loves these things. So every time I see one, if I can get it at a reasonable price, I try to buy it for her. And she loves the thing. She displays them, and they tickle her to death. So Renee, I got you an iron, and I hope you enjoy it. But that's not what I want to show you, because you can see these irons everywhere. Have you guys ever saw the trivet that comes with one of these irons. So as many of these irons that I've ever saw, I've never saw the base for it, or the section that you put down and you set your iron up on top of the base to keep the iron from burning your ironing board or whatever that you're sitting it down on. So, you know, I know they make these for pots and pans, and Catherine actually has a few of them that I've been able to find over the last couple of years that she keeps in the kitchen. She don't use them, but she displays them. They're beautiful, beautiful little pieces of cast iron. But one for one of these old type irons, I have never saw that in my life. If y'all have ever saw one of these, I want y'all to leave me a comment down in the comment section. The thing is just immaculate with detail. And also, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. So it's got the little legs under the bottom. And again, it's designed to sit your iron on top of when you're not using it. So it prevents you from burning or setting your iron down on top of hot clothes. Beautiful little piece. I wanted to share that with y'all because I've never saw it. If y'all have saw one of those little bases before, again, leave me a message down in the comment section. And the last thing that I want to show you is this fine machine right here. So this is a pizza peel, and as you guys know, we got the new pizza oven. Hadn't been able to use it for a few weeks, but we got the new pizza oven. We just didn't have a pizza peel. And the day that Catherine bought the pizza oven, she tried to find a peel, and they didn't have one in Walmart at that day. But there's a young lady over in Mississippi named Peter Pat. Miss Patty, thank you very much for the pizza peel. She was kind enough. She knowed I'd been sick and I'd been down, and she was kind enough to find one, and she sent it to us. So, Miss Patty, we love you with all of our heart. You are definitely our friend, and you know we're the same person. So thank you very much for the pizza peel. This thing's going to come in, and we're going to get a whole lot of use out of that pizza peel once we're able to get our diet straightened back out and eat whatever we want to eat. All right, folks. Thank y'all very much. I hope the information on the Dutch ovens is something that you can use. And if you have a BS&R, you have something. That's a fine piece of cast iron, and you cherish it. So, me and Stella are not going to keep y'all. We appreciate you watching the video. And again, it's good to see you, and it's good to be seen. Stella, where are you going? You know what? Catherine might be right when she tries to portray me in her videos. Again, if y'all have ever saw one of these little trivets, y'all drop me a comment down in the comment section and tell me about them. All right. It's good talking to you. And as always, life's an adventure. Don't get caught sitting at home. Y'all should be out here in the lodge with me and Stella, piddling around till we can get back busy.